Hey everybody, this is Clay from Map and Fire, and I'm doing a little experiment today. I've been working on a new app for my business for the past 4 or 5 months, and I've been sharing it with a lot of people, been getting a lot of great feedback, lots of ideas on how to make it better. And my company is very small. It's essentially me. I have some outside collaborators I work with, as well as some different contractors. But I don't have a team that I can do design reviews with for things like this. So my thought was, what if I tried to do sort of a crowdsourced design review? I've been watching some of the videos from Jason Fried and the team at 37 Signals with Basecamp. If anybody has seen those, they're great. But it's essentially sort of giving a behind the scenes view at their own design process. So I thought maybe I could try this out, sort of capture some of the thinking that I do with the product and how I approach stuff. And maybe it would spark conversation or ideas from people. Also, maybe help me work through my own thoughts on it a little bit. But yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do here, and I'm gonna kind of jump into it. The camera on my computer is over here, but the screen that I'm going to be focused on with the demo and everything is over here. So I'll try to go back and forth a little bit as I talk, but anyway, with that being said, I'm going to kind of just jump into it and start explaining what the challenge is. Just to give a very quick overview, the product is called StratPack, and it is designed to help business owners, entrepreneurs, founders, or marketers essentially create effective messaging for their business. And to do that, we walk through different areas of your business and extract important pieces of information about how you do things. So including who your customers are, your competition, the features of your offering, the tone of voice that you should use. And then we kind of compile all of that into ideas and suggestions for what would be effective messaging for your business. So when you first come into the app, I'm not going to do a full walkthrough of the app or anything, but I'll just kind of try to give a little context so that hopefully the problem I'm trying to solve makes sense. When you first come into the app, it gives you an overview of what you're doing, which is similar to what I just talked about with the messaging stuff. And then you come into customers. So it tells you kind of, what we're doing in this step, why we're talking about your customers, the information we're trying to get about your customers. And then we kind of jump in. And what the app does, again, is it sort of guides you through different steps, giving you little tasks to complete, sort of answering questions about your business. So you can see this very first one. I've already gone through this to put in some demo data. So if you were coming into this fresh, it would kind of look like this. But it would say, describe a specific type of person that needs your business. So we can say business owner. And then we can save that and go into the next section. It says describe an important task, activity, or situation where the business owner wants to improve or make progress. So here's kind of where the challenge starts to come up, because, while I have stuff in here, I have some hint elements like the text here saying, complete this sentence for your customer when I ... I've also got some tool tips in here with additional information. But at the end of the day, it's kind of up to the user to come up with the input for this. And some of the feedback I've gotten from people is, it can be challenging at times to come up with the right inputs here. Even though this is asking, hopefully, fairly fundamental stuff about your business, you still kind of have to come up with it. You have to really think through it. And it can create some friction for people, especially the first time they're going through it. And then in addition to that, the way you say stuff ends up having an impact on the messages, the message options that we provide to you at the end. So that that will make more sense in a second. I'm just going to show you a quick example so you can kind of see the relationship between what you put in and what comes out. But so I'm going to put in here, so complete the sentence for your customer when I, let's say, work on my marketing. Okay. And we'll save that. And then there's two more pieces for customers. So it's, finding out what motivates you when you're working on your marketing. So we say, I want to capture my company's value proposition, gain a better understanding of my customers. Again, this is stuff that I put in as test data. What you put in would be specific to your own business. And then we're kind of defining the outcomes based on those motivations. So I want to capture my company's value proposition so I can feel that my product messaging is clear. Okay, cool. So then when we jump over to the messaging section, you're going to see how those inputs are used to provide ideas for your messaging. So up here we see, we have a business owner, and their activity is to work on my marketing. We've got tone of voice stuff. We've got SEO suggestions for wording. And then up here, you see this is sort of the first headline that we're working on. And you can see the different options we're providing. So it says, now you can feel that my product messaging is clear. The best way to build more brand loyalty with my audience. How to know I'm taking advantage of my team's capabilities. So then you would type in, that message. So when you first come in, it's sort of empty. And then, you can type in something either based on the suggestions or something that you come up with on your own. And then down here, you can kind of see some of the challenges I was talking about. So for the subheadline option, it says, when work on my marketing, use a solution that focused, fast, and inexpensive. So this is where you can kind of see how the inputs that I put in are, they affect the output suggestions or the options that are kind of output by the product. So we want to try to make that smoother. We want it to be easier for people to get effective options out of this. And so that's the challenge I've been working on. And so I'm going to jump over to Sketch now, just to show you kind of what I'm thinking about and how I'm kind of thinking about potentially solving this, just to get your feedback. So again, this is how the product looks now. This is just a totally rough mock-up that I was working on in Sketch. Normally I do, more detailed mock-ups, but again, I kind of just wanted to do this as quickly as possible. So, okay, this is similar to what we were just looking at. Describe an important task or activity. When I fill in the blank. So my thinking is let's imagine we kind of move this down a little bit, smidge. If we added in some hint buttons here that included predefined text examples that we already know kind of fit the mold, and therefore, hopefully it would kind of nudge people in the right direction. Again, it's not going to be foolproof, but maybe it helps you get to a better outcome. And it also, maybe it helps you, it's like anytime you have to write something, if you have a blank slate, I think it's more challenging to come up with the first thing you need to type. And if something can kind of seed it for you, maybe that eases some of that friction, reduces the friction a little bit. So there would be these buttons here that says, complete this sentence, when I work on or need help with or struggle with. And you could sort of click one of those to pre-populate the line below it. So another example over here, the 3 things that motivate your customer. So if we kind of shift this down and put in some of these button options. So it could say, I want to save money. I want to simplify work. I want to make connections. Now there's some inherent challenges with this because, well, several things. One, I don't want to bias people to thinking they should use these examples specifically. Um, Ideally, people are coming up with this on their own, but again, there's challenges with that. Uh, I also don't want people to think these are the only options that they can use. Again, people should be free to come up with anything they want to use. Um, and and then also just from a UX perspective, I think the UI for this is already kind of complex. There are several. I've worked very, very hard to try to make it as simplified as possible, but adding another element like this could make it feel more complicated. So that's the approach I'm going for. That's what I'm trying to solve for. I would love to hear thoughts that any other people have about this, or ideas that people have about it. Again, I really like the idea of trying to be a little more transparent about this stuff, and again, kind of crowdsourcing a design review was an interesting idea to me. So if you're interested in this at all, or you have suggestions, you can check out the product as well. It's the URL is getstratpack.com. You can test out the product yourself there if you want. And otherwise, I'm happy to hear any thoughts that people have. So thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think. Thanks.